Hello and welcome back here on my English YouTube channel about my Lego City project called Brickworld. And after finishing some of my projects in the last weeks, I want to start a new project over here. I already talked about it. Here's the place where we are going to build up that very big cinema. We can see already some parts of the outside we did some time ago, but today I want to start working with the building itself, especially with the facade here on the entrance area. So stay tuned for today's update. And here you can see my results after a long time of checking some stuff, testing some stuff, rebuilding, building, rebuilding, whatever. And I wanted to have some kind of special facade here at the entrance area of my cinema. So I decided to have that construction here with the hinges here. You can see them here down under the building. And then we can lean in a kind of angle the facade outside of the building. Then we have these columns here, but I think this makes a very nice and interesting, very special and more modern styled facade here. You can see I added some windows here, but some windows are missing. But it's an interesting design, I think. On the top I used some other kind of hinges to make that to have the ability to have everything here in place. It's very stable, more stable than I thought before, and I really like that kind of design. I think when we're going to build up on that design, adding some lights in the future, that's going to be a very nice structure here. Especially it's going to be a big building, not so big as the train station on the other side of the table, but one big project. Once again, there's going to be the side of the building will be open here at the side of the table, so we can look inside, and we're going to see everything inside. For example, that very big room with all of these seats, etc. And I think it's going to be a very nice and very important addition to the city. A project I really wanted to do a long time ago, and it's a project I never saw in that size, especially a cinema in that size. Maybe when you're following the German channel, you already saw how big that project is going to be. There's also going to be a kind of part under the tables, an underground area. So it's going to be a very big project. Next on, I started working inside. As you can see, we have these very difficult kind of angles here. We have that little gap here. So I tried to find a way and a solution to hide that little gap, just starting to add some more of these tiles in dark 10. And after that, I can include that very special part I wanted to integrate here. It's a little bit of complicated addition. As you can see here, I'm using a technique with studs not on top. So we have these modified bricks, and then I can put it on here. Then we have that little stud, the single stud here down under here. And then I can just put that part here over it, and we can really hide that little gap. These are little details that are very important in my opinion, but often you have a long time to find a solution. By the way, I got some of the Lego minifigure series here from Dungeons and Dragons, and I think it's a very good idea to use them here in the cinema. One of the big movies is going to be a fantasy movie. It's not Dungeons and Dragons, it will be Heroes and Dragons, just for copyright problems. And I have some different figures here, just building them up here, and I want to include them in that big entrance area of the cinema in a kind of statues. You often see them in cinemas and places like that, just to make some kind of advertising for a current running movie or upcoming movie. And so I decided to add these minifigures up here. And I think it's a very nice idea and solution to use these Dungeons and Dragons minifigures here as statues. Of course, I'm not counting them as minifigures here in the city. We're only counting minifigures that are living, if you want to call it like that. Statues and stuff like that. Even if they're minifigures, they're minifigures, but don't count them if they're just used for statues. Also can see here how I worked around that little area here, and I think it's a nice way to hide all these little stuff here, all these little gaps here. And then I started to add some lights. That's light aqua light. As always, I'm using the system from Light My Bricks. Just added 2 strip lights here under that area on top of here. And I think that's a very nice color, just to have a more modern or futuristic look here, not just using warm white light or cold warm light, using that aqua colored light. I think it's adding a little better addition to that city here, to that cinema, to have a very modern look here. And as you can see, we're just moving outside. I also added a strip light on top of here, and that's a normal white light to have just a little bit of light here coming from the top down on the outside area of the entrance area. And I'm really happy with how everything comes together. And I think that's a very good start to find the way how that building should look. That's always a very important part at the beginning of designing the buildings in my city, especially if you have very big buildings in a realistic scale. You have to check out what design, what colors, whatever you want to use, because once you have decided, you are not able to change the color scheme or the basic design. So you really have to find the perfect solution at the beginning of a building like that. And I think that's the perfect solution for modern styled cinema complex here in the city. And I already really like the view here down the street. Yeah, they are not all the buildings here. We have big gaps here around here, but I think you see where I want to go. And by the way, that's going to be the biggest, room with all the seats for the cinema. Is going to be placed on top. That's going to be a very interesting design. As I said before, on the German channel, I already worked lots more here on that building. So if you already saw that on the German channel, you might know how everything will be designed later on. But that's something for a next update here on the English channel. As you can see here, the building here, the train station is going to be bigger, or still bigger, like than the cinema, but it's also going to be a very big building. So yeah, it's the next mega project here in my city. I hope you like it. As always, feel free to write whatever you think about today's update, any ideas, any suggestions, whatever, write it down in the comment area, and we're going to see in the next update when we're going to build once again here in the cinema or somewhere else. Let's see where the next update is going to be placed here in the city. We have a lot of gaps, a lot of areas to work on, and I hope you will be back soon, so stay tuned.